Yo, yo, yo. I'm interviewed by Gestapo. Let's see, natural light. Oh yeah, natural light. Screw natural light. Hey Chistrand, how's it going? All hail Art Dungeon. So, the man, the legend, the myth, Chillstrand. So, as you can see, the stream is muddying the colors a bit. I don't know why. I want to actually know if there is like post-processing you can have on your like video capture. Let's see, there's properties. There's gamma. Oh god damn it, that's one. I wonder what happens if I adjust the gamma. Whoa, all right. Interesting. It's like washed out. But I'd say something like that is way more accurate. Cool. But actually, no. In Twitch, lets me decrease it even more and have to wait for it to adjust on the stream. Let's circle the cursor so I know if it's updated. Maybe I'm wasting time here. I can't see a change. What the? It should have been updated by now. So if I do that, increase it like this, and do you see it? Yeah, I do. So if I decrease it, sorry for being an idiot. It's weird how Twitch grays everything out. That's crazy. That is crazy. Compatibility mode. Capture layered windows. No. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. No, 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 no. Sorry. Back to reading the chat. Good morning, dear bird. Book 11. Hey, you're new. Hey, Zalin. Actually, Book 11, you were here before. Quentin, hi, hi, hi. Ooh, Sofa Strangler, congratulations. Oh, yeah. First working gig. You're the best wrangler in the world. Magshin, how's it going? Ixie, oh, you're back. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, you were here, Book 11. I remember the name. All right, so technical fiddling aside, I did a little bit more work yesterday on this, not a lot, but I was playing around with the saturation of the background versus foreground and so on, and I think it's going towards the right direction, even though in Twitch it's quite muddied out, but in Photoshop is actually not that bad. So I'm hoping it'll work itself out. Hey, good morning, Bruno Romanos. Well, that's really good that you got client work. It's awesome. Okay, so I think what I'll do today is just random refinements, like trying to work on edges and so on. I was thinking about like what would be the natural next step, and I was kind of trying to think ahead of what I should do. And I think one of the things I need to do is first draw out majority of all the shapes so that everything is laid out so I can see the actual painting with paint, right? Because I have yet to do that. Uh, I have seen it like being painted. I've seen it with line art, but I haven't actually seen the painting. So I think what I have to do is paint all the edges up in somewhat sharp fashion, and then look at the painting and decide where I should soften some of the edges up, and then where they should be sharp. Because you don't want everything the same strength across the image, right? You want some variety, you want some edge contrast and value contrasts and all these things. And that's one of the downsides of kind of making it up as you go along, is that whole aspect of like you have to make sense of it as you're painting it in a way, because I can't. I mean, I could, but I can't really just paint everywhere and hope that it'll solve itself. In a way, I can, but this style in particular um, needs very worked up shapes, and and the placement of them and so on, and it takes time to do all the correct shapes and all the correct details. Hey, Schmaze, you're back. Holmes, good morning. Good morning, Miesis. Hey, Cynics. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, man. Glad you could make it. I threw an eye on your stream yesterday as well. It was pretty cool. This landscape um, exploration is very interesting. And I like the way, Cynics, you kind of zoom in on the stream. It made me think, like, monkey see, monkey do. This one thing I think which is a really cool development of the industry, or the community rather, is streaming. Like I'm a strong believer that it's the future of how we gonna interact, because there's a lot of. I mean, obviously everyone doesn't have time to stream, but it's a new updated way where you can have more than just an image type communication with others. Uh, granted, the streams I've done this year haven't had a lot of people on for like talks or discussions, and it's hard to do because of the timing versus America. It's late at night in a lot of places. Uh, but it's I'd love to try. I mean, obviously 30minutewarmup.com plug is an idea that I'm developing, which I haven't had time at all, unfortunately. Uh, but the idea of it is very intriguing. It's like it's going to somewhat be, definitely, I think, somewhat going to be the future. What's the next organic platform, next step for the like organically grown platform? Um, I mean, obviously, everyone can't do it, and everyone can resort to just uploading photos. But I think more and more we are connecting with each other all the time, and I think that's a really interesting aspect. And streaming um, really enhances that kind of communication. I mean, look at this stream. I mean, obviously, I haven't marketed this stream at all, really, other than random posts on my Facebook. But I haven't like pushed it in any way, shape, or form, marketing wise. You know, there's a lot of other artists that are a lot more um, pushy when it comes to, you know, like they make ads and so on. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that it's great. My statement is just that like I haven't pushed this channel a lot yet. There's a bunch of really cool people, you know, all of you who come every day, and it's around like 30-40 people every day. And that alone is a very unique. I mean, obviously 40 people is no means a big channel. I mean, every time Mike Abazido streams, he has like over 200, and I'm quite sure that Cynics has way more than 30-40 viewers when he streams. But it's a very cool, I'd say, modern way of sharing art and like the process of creating. I think being able to share that is really quite unique. You know, it didn't exist that long ago. I mean, obviously, live streaming has existed for some years, but not to this extent. All praise Queen Mila. She has arrived. Hey, Millerfin. Good morning. Good morning. And Chisran, I think it would be cool to see you stream. Do some 3D. Yeah. I mean, Cynics is obviously... He's a rock star. Everyone loves Cynics, right? Um, but it's really cool. I'm really excited about about the medium, you know. Especially where there's opportunity to teach others, help others grow. I just wish, you know, like, this is gonna sound verge of bitterness, but it's not. but the amount of effort like I put in to stream, there's nothing coming back. I mean, obviously, you guys have donated, which is amazing, which I'm super happy about. Um, but I mean, that is like of the kind I've discussed this before, but that is like the kindness of your heart, and that's fantastic. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely appreciate it, and I put it to good use. Um, but in a way, like if you think about it as let's say if it would be like a company, a company that gives away that makes TV shows, right? Let's say make TV shows. You as a viewer, you pay a TV license, right? I doubt that a TV show directly gets a percentage of your TV license or channel subscription or whatever. But there is some sort of loop system, right? That you can gain income from it. I mean, obviously, I could be an affiliate, and I think what that does is that you get ad revenue from all those ads you watch, right? I think, but it's a bit weird. But I love the idea of streaming, and I don't think I'll stop anytime soon. I mean, this is the second year, end of the second year, and third year is going to start. Season 3 is going to start later. Hey, Captain Balls. Yeah, you think so? Oh, that's cool, man. I have a hard time seeing it objectively. Like how it is from a viewer. But I like all of you, the atmosphere that we all create together. Yeah, I think that's really a really good thing, dear Bard, of how we are all together and helping each other. I think that's one of the great things about our community, the Discord community especially. Um, Unfortunately, I haven't had a lot of time lately and completely swamped. Sofa Strangler, I don't know actually. I have no real understanding of this whole thing really. You know, a lot of other streamers have started a lot earlier. They know the business a lot more, and because I'm to the degree that I'm quite busy. Um, it's a hard time for me to kind of engulf myself in the world of Twitch. Yet again, I've talked about this on another stream, uh, but I do love it. I want to learn it, so it's a slow learning process for me. Maybe it's the old guy syndrome of me not just staying in touch with everything because I'm old. Um, who knows, right? But I really enjoy it. Children, well, I don't know actually. We don't know how that would be. So we can't say that it would be less. Maybe it's just a lot more talking and still personal. I mean, what's the call? What's that saying? Opposite attracts. Uh, but I don't think that applies in this instance. I think the way we most of us, majority of us, except as a troll here and there, uh, majority of how we all behave is quite down to earth and respectful, which is which is great, which I don't think a lot of places usually have. I think one thing that other in my uh, limited experience with other places is that there's a lot kind of, I don't know, immaturity maybe. Hey, Chilson, good luck with art review. Yeah, bad seeds, exactly. That's what kind of what I was getting to. Zealing, yeah, I mean, it depends on how much you interact with your audience. Obviously, if it's 200 people all talking at one time, it's going to be impossible. But so would it be if all you 40 watching are talking at the same time? It's going to be hard for me to follow as well. But yeah, a lot of streamers, the actual person streaming, uh, a lot of times they don't interact that much. But one thing that I like is, for example, with James Zapata, is he talks a lot with the people that writes to him. You know, it's for me, as at the beginning of the industry, like in 2005, 2006, um, when worlds started to collide, when the bridge between US and Europe kind of started getting shorter, that bridge, we started communicating more in general, um, more and more, especially as a Scandinavian. Uh, hey, Eric Moy, how's it going? Especially as a Scandinavian, um, they're quite introvert, and they are not um, very loud in nature. Like Scandis are usually the strong silent guy, right? And trust that their actions speak for themselves. So one thing that I noticed as a Swede, when these uh, worlds collided, is that Americans are very loud, and they have a different point of view of how you should act towards each other. And I think to some degree, um, it's about culture. And one of the things, one point I was trying to get to was that streamer culture, because of a majority of a lot of streamers are American. Um, Along with it comes a way of acting. And I think a lot of bigger streamers um, culturally treat it differently, and it becomes this one-way discussion, right? That they are the show, you are the observer, rather than we are all in together. Hey, Tindre, how's it going? You're back. Hmm. I have added snow. So this is this year's Christmas card. I try to do one every year. So there's some line art being done. I think this is the fifth day I'm streaming the process, trying like slowly getting to the point where it's finished. Dear Bard, yeah, I mean it's a cultural difference. I don't think it's anything negative. And personally, I've learned a lot from American people when it comes to self-promoting and being proud of what you do and making sure that others understand it. Um, there's there's a very easy for European, for example, to be too modest and think that the world will understand, while Americans, in my experience, are way more pushier and loud, like Europeans like to say. Um, we can definitely see when an American talks compared to a European. I don't think it's anything wrong, don't get me wrong, but it's an interesting thing to think about, and there's a reason why a lot of Americans are successful. Maybe in comparison, unjustified in certain cases because they're great at promoting rather than skills. I don't know about that, but there's definitely, as always, there's always exceptions to the rule, right? Hey, Frenchy, how's it going, man? You're back. Or woman, I don't know. But hey, person. Yeah, a voodoo breakfast. I think to some degree, I mean, obviously, I do adopt a lot of American um, loudness aspects, which I think, as a, if I would be straight up Swede, like the way most Swedes are, it would not be as interesting of a stream, I think.
Hey, who wants to
So
play
that
Drink
being
the
said, I
Beer?
mean,
Right
obviously,
here.
I hugely
You
respect
win.
Americans'
All right,
ability
what do
to
I
be
win?
loud
Another beer.
and,
Oh,
and
I'm going for the hot
self-promoting,
straw.
and that is something a lot of people, especially Europeans, should try to decipher and understand and use to their advantage of the ability to go, be in the center of the room. There, Bart. That's hilarious. That's perfect. That is perfect. Yeah, but that's that's interesting, and it was very noticeable at the beginning, back in 2005, 2006, at least for, how does that work? No idea how that works. Um, it was very obvious for me, at least, um, like in 2004 when I went to the first European workshop by the Massive Black guys, and it was like, whoa, what's this? And then meeting all the people from across the world, uh, the culture shock, all these things, and it was like a melting pot, and I definitely picked up a lot, uh, and I also was, at the beginning I was quite annoyed, personally, by the American loudness, not because they were loud, but because they got center stage, you know, in a way, uh, in the vacuum of a workshop, that was became quite obvious, like who got attention and who didn't, and it wasn't like, it sounds like, hey, why aren't anyone giving me attention? That's not at all what I'm trying to to kind of convey, and that wasn't at all what I was feeling. But obviously, when it's quite that huge, is it called disparity? Difference. It becomes very obvious, who is able to hold the room and who's uncomfortable in being a center of attention. And you could almost pinpoint, like in the workshops, like, okay, that's an European, that's an American. And I think both can learn from each other. Uh, I obviously can't speak for Americans. I don't know how they think, what the difference is. I mean, some of you are American. Hey, Tim Remmers, thank you very much for the host, man. Much appreciated. Tim Remmers for president. Unfortunately, it's just 4.5 minutes left, but much appreciated. Schmaze, that's an interesting point, actually. You know, if there are any, and how they did it, and how do they sustain themselves. I mean, obviously, I know that there is a lot of like Patreon people who make a living on Patreon. I mean, all these boob boob artists that does boob women, they just shower in money from 14-year-olds that throwing money at them to get some boob drawings. Unfortunately, that is a thing. What can you do, right? It's 4.5 fantastic minutes, like the best 4.5 minutes in the world. Yeah, titty streamers. Yeah, I'm a boob streamer too. Gila, yeah, of course, that is also an aspect. I mean, obviously my English isn't fantastic. It's not perfect, but it's a pretty decent level. Um, but I don't think that is the issue. The issue is awkwardness. A lot of people just they're not good at talking, even though their English is, let's say, broken. You can still be a great talker with broken English, or you can have a perfect English and be a shit talker. You know, it's all about the ability to communicate in an effective and probably to some degree kind of relaxed manner. A lot of people just don't know how to do that, to rant. I mean, if you look back at season one episode, the beginning episodes, obviously there was this kind of inability to be interesting, I guess. And I am by no means saying that I am interested, um, but I've definitely practiced in ranting. As you all know, uh, I do go on rant trains now and then. But it's an interesting thing to reflect on, the whole thing. Oh yeah, Tinder. I need like camera angle like this, so I look up at the camera and then just cleavage. Yes, you're an ass cam for sure. Team Rimmers, yeah, it's tricky, it's tricky. But also, I think there is this point of, do you always need to be the teacher? I try not to always be the teacher. I try to also have just random topics of discussion, because at the beginning, for example, of Gumroad, and everyone thought they were a teacher, and everyone started releasing Gumroad, and majority of them are just shit. So I don't think, like, not everyone is the teacher on Twitch. I mean, what I don't know. I don't know. Zillion, yeah. But the thing what they did, when they did those CG Master Academy stuff, is that they just took part of one of my lessons or feedback. They just threw it together, and I had no say in the matter. Yeah, it's an introspection day. Ah, thanks, Tinder. I always try to do awesome stug. All right, so today a lot of talking and very little painting, but some definition. Definitely not the speediest painting day at all, but it's getting there. It's getting there. We're putting things together. I think it's moving in the right direction. Um, so I'm happy. I'm hope you guys are happy. We had a good rant. I think introspective rant. Captain Jetlag, hey, you're a bit late. Tim Remmers, yeah, yeah. Teaching takes practice though to get good at, and teaching it in a good way, where it's easy to understand and for them to pick up. And I know, Tindre. I was just joking around a bit. All right, time's up. Tindre, yeah, that's the goal. Is should go towards that direction. Captain jet lag, yeah. Oh, you're late. Yeah. So Mila, there is and Tina, it's going to be a little bit more Hearthstone-ish the more I paint it. I mean, like I mentioned before, I want to map everything out first with edges so I know what everything is, and then I'll go back in and start pushing and pulling shapes and adding volumes and so on. But more of that tomorrow morning. I'll try to if I have time, to finish all the shapes, so that tomorrow I can start, uh, uh, doing the whole like third pass where we try to move towards finish. At the moment, we're still like I'd say beginning to midpoint, um, but more towards beginning. We're not even halfway there yet. Um, Anyways, thank you very much for coming. Thanks for the host, Tim Remmers. Oh, and see you all tomorrow morning. Good night. Good day. Catch you on Discord. Outro time. Bye.